Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our conversation this afternoon. Today, we'll be discussing the industry-leading strategies and practices that KCI Technology Inc. has adopted to remain an industry leader in the realm of subsurface utility engineering. My name is Marvin Lopez, and I'll be one of the moderators for today's presentation. Alongside me are today's presenters, Bill McIntyre, Vice President of Business Development at ProStar. Bill, if you don't mind giving us a quick intro.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. My name is Bill McIntyre. I'm VP of Business Development. I've been with the company now 6.5 years, and certainly a pleasure to meet everybody.
Thank you, Bill. We also have Randy Seaver, Vice President of KCI Technologies, and his team. Randy, would you mind giving us a brief intro of yourself and your team?
Sure, Marvin. Thanks for having us today. I'm the Vice President and Overseer, Discipline Manager for the Subsurface Utility Engineering Group for KCI Technologies. I've been in the business now for a little over 20 years and kind of been in engineering for 35. So I kind of have seen it from both sides of the fence here as far as the advantages of using SUE and so forth over the years. With that, I'm going to pass it off to Jared Williams and also Mallory Miller, who actually deal with our PointMan process on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you, Randy. Mallory, I believe you're muted.
Yep, had to find the buttons. I'm Mallory Miller. I am a drafter at KCI Technologies. I've been with KCI for 3.5 years. I am the drafter for the Northeast region for our SUE department, and I am the lead on PointMan Pro for our in-office users.
Thank you, Mallory. And Jared?
Hello, I'm Jared Williams. I'm a SUE field manager here at KCI for the Northeast region. I have 10 years of utilities experience with 8 years focusing directly in SUE. I'm the lead on PointMan Pro for field users here at KCI.
Thank you, everyone, so much. Once again, huge thanks to everyone for being here with us today. And finally, this webinar is presented by ProStar's PointMan, a world leader in the development of precision mapping solutions. So before we begin, I'd like to go over just a quick overview of today's format. We'll begin with some slides and an open discussion between Bill McIntyre and the KCI team, after which we will open up the last quarter hour for answering any audience questions. So throughout the presentation, if anything comes up, please feel free to write questions in the Q&A section throughout the presentation. And we will do our best at the very end to answer them all after the broadcast, or at the end of the broadcast. So without further delay, I'll hand this over to Bill to begin the discussion. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Marvin. So while we're all here today, first and foremost, the industry speaks loudly we've made strides in technology and processes, but we still have the statistics of the number of strikes, aging infrastructure, and the cost of that. And I think that's really the biggest key that we're trying to address on an early stage of getting accurate records and data up front and reusable through the entire utility life cycle of that asset. Just with some questions that I wanted to ask, sorry, I go back and I wanted to ask Randy and the team, what challenges you're facing within the SUE industry today and what seems to be driving that?
So some of the challenges that we're seeing is the increased deliverable requirements with the implementation of ASCE 3822, which involves consolidating a lot of data / metadata, like depths, pictures, descriptions for our deliverables and reports. The other thing that we are facing is reduced deliverable times.
Incredible. Yeah, that's again, faster, easier, and more efficient is obviously the objective, but certainly the requirements keep growing as I think technology keeps improving. So this is just some of the ASCE 3822 existing descriptions. Most importantly, what's in the ground today. And again, the difficulty of not only recording that, but actually mapping that and sharing that data. And then we also have, again, these are the processes below of avoiding that, minimizing risk, accommodating new, and then relocating as construction projects move forward. The other is, and most importantly, capturing that data in the beginning, right, when it's being installed. And again, that's where ASCE 75 is really focused on, with, again, different standards and higher standards than we had in the past. So KCI has always been an innovative company. What methods within your SU department are you using to stay ahead of this curve?
Bill, let me answer that. I mean,
Yeah.
primarily, some of the methods and the equipment and so forth are, we're looking at different ways to obtain that information, both with our electromagnetic equipment, staying up with the latest equipment and software out there and technologies in order to try and, make the most efficient, timelines as far as collecting the data and also preparing that deliverable for our clients.
Randy, would you say that the PointMan applications helped with your productivity in the field?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, with that, capturing all that data within the software and being able to actually see that in real time has, helped us tremendously, especially, a lot of our crews work from, they may be out of one location, but they may be working, 4 to 8 hours away, but we can actually see that information as it's actually being put in real time back at the offices and so forth. And if our field crews have any kind of issues or we see something that looks awry, we can certainly reach out to them and try and get those come up with some sort of solution to make that correct.
So real-time visibility is giving you the advantage basically to manage the field and the resources in real time. So if there's opportunity to correct or not relocate, but basically leverage the field while they're in the field is a key time saver, but also cost reduction, I think, for each. Some of the trends we talked about earlier, again, field data quality assurance and visualization of that data, I think is one of the biggest keys, I think, of the PointMan application. As Randy said, in the office or in the field, as data is collecting in real time, you're able to visualize that, you're able to qualify that, and again, identify discrepancies if there are those in the field. Pictures obviously are becoming more and more, as well as videos, breadcrumbing capabilities of where I was, what I did, and being able to use basically reference with a timestamp, date, and who collected that data is very key to this as well. And of course, field sketches, this has been around for years, but now the field sketches are actually geospatially referenced in a GIS system. Very easy to copy and paste or basically give reference to the entire project in very less drafting time. I would give Mallory, I think, the benefit of identifying that, but again, switching data from GIS to design systems and vice versa is a real benefit to it as well. Mallory, was there anything you wanted to add from a design or a conversion process that you guys go through? I think you're muted, sorry.
I hit the quick key and it didn't work. No, I think you got a pretty good coverage there. It is really nice being able to export the KMZs straight out and use those directly. That definitely helps with our field sketches to the survey crews.
Excellent, thank you. Depth, again, another trend. This is becoming more and more important, not knowing just, again, from a pothole standpoint, where this is, but the alignment of the underground asset and details to that. It varies, as we all know, and that's what's very unique, not only to the SU industry of capturing this data, but very important to the pre-construction and construction side as grading changes throughout that project. So knowing depth certainly is a big component of the XYZ data collection. So how did you come across PointMan, and what were you looking for when searching for a utility mapping solution?
So dating back to 2018, KCI received the opportunity to pioneer and beta test with PointMan. After testing its capabilities in tracking, capturing, and consolidating field data, we were convinced the software would assist us to accomplish what we needed to increase efficiencies of data capture and delivery while still complying with the current and future ASCE 38 standard requirements.
Excellent, thank you. And that includes obviously precision data. So being able to view that data, and as we talked about, not only viewing it, but capturing it in real time. When you collect your location or create a line, you can actually validate that at the point in time, making sure that you're meeting those requirements. In addition to, again, meeting ASCE 38 and 75 requirements, which are being more and more, I think, active and now standardized throughout different states. So implementing PointMan, a new technology, takes some learning. How did your team manage the transition of using PointMan effectively, and were there any valuable lessons learned during this process?
You are definitely correct that implementing new technologies can have a big learning curve. To transition our company to utilizing PointMan, KCI worked in close coordination with ProStar to help develop many of the features and capabilities that we utilize when we use PointMan. One of the valuable lessons we learned was to communicate every aspect and issue we came across immediately. By communicating these issues that we were seeing in the application, we were able to increase the software usability and overall efficiencies, resulting in a streamlined field effort and deliverable product to our clients.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to that in regards to working with KCI has been, again, our ability to learn from, I think, the industry leaders, as well as improve our product based on their knowledge and expertise and experience in the field. So we always encourage that from all our clients, but KCI has been certainly a strong directive on where our product is today and will be going tomorrow. One of the other questions, again, one of our benefits, I think, from being agnostic to most of the equipment out there today that we work with, has, I think I'm trying to rewrite the question here in my head, but since you have various brands and tools throughout the office, has PointMan made your equipment integration smoother across the teams that you work with?
Yeah, PointMan allows us to be more uniform and organized on how we store our utility data, which allows for crews to work for multiple offices smoothly because our collection process is the same throughout every office.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, we just also upgraded our manufacturer agreements with Leica. And so now we're integrating with Leica as well. And this will continue as technology keeps improving and it keeps expanding, as well as the impulse radar. So one of the key things is, again, challenging, I think, from a training standpoint, but learning to use mobile devices is more concurrent with, I think, the youth today. I know my son would agree, versus sketching on a pad and whatnot. And so, again, how PointMan works through Bluetooth to connect through a cloud from a tablet or a phone to a locator device, and or in concurrently, if need be, a GPS receiver, and capture that data again in real time, as well as being able to share that back to the cloud and the office. In regards to your workflow, how has PointMan changed, or how has PointMan helped with your data collection and current workflow management?
So the biggest impact PointMan's had on our projects is it's organized and it's fast delivery to our clients. Being able to export our field data to a format that's ready to be delivered with very little effort, additional effort, has greatly increased our efficiency.
Fantastic. I appreciate that.
Yep.
How large is your team currently leveraging PointMan, and has PointMan provided, I guess, more effective resource management both in the office and the field?
Yeah, so the real-time cloud storage allows us to be able to manage our projects from places other than on project site. So being able to see any of the issues that the technicians are facing as they're facing them has made us more efficient in both resolving issues and also keeping our clients happy with updates.
Fantastic. And that's something, again, I think you pointed out, very nice to know, is that, again, this data can be shared, again, with clients very securely. Not that we want to edit that from a client standpoint, but again, being visible in the cloud also makes it accessibility to clients as well as the vendor themselves. When creating deliverables, what is your process like, and how is PointMan influenced compared to alternative methods? What you're seeing here is more of basically a traditional method of workflow.
So I'm not going to go too much into our processes, but basically our process, no matter what the final program we use, an AutoCAD based or a Bentley based program, we export the data from PointMan in 3 forms. We use the CSV, the KMZ, and the shape files. From there, we're able to use the data to fill in what information we need in addition to the survey that we collect. And PointMan gives us one location to store all of the data in a consistent format so that it's easy to use and review.
Excellent, thank you. And as a leader in the SUE industry, we find that KCI consistently looks to improve their processes and leverage the latest technologies based on, again, increased requests for more precision and detailed data in the collection process. What do you foresee in the future and for the SUE industry?
Randy, do you want to handle that, or Mallory, or me? Or
Sure, I can jump in there. I mean, basically, I think that we're kind of meeting the tip of the iceberg at this point. As we progress through the years, as far as collecting the underground utility and so forth, our clients are looking for more and more accurate data. And the 3822 is one of the big things that they're pushing is the 3D. So basically giving that utility a Z coordinate in order to come up with a real good conflict matrix. So, as things transpire in our industry with the growth and the new technologies and the locating equipment, with the GPRs and the electromagnetic equipment, it's going to continue to prosper as far as, things, moving down as far as the technologies and so forth, as far as trying to make that equipment more and more accurate. Obviously, with the electromagnetic equipment, the big question mark out there is the Z coordinate. Our data or our equipment out there gives us a electronic depth, but as most of us that have been in the industry for a number of years know, that electronic depth isn't always that accurate. So I think as time progresses, that will get better. But as far as KCI, I mean, we have a pretty boisterous program as far as keeping up with the new technologies and research and development, as far as trying to make our product better and stand up with the technologies.
No, you've always been an innovator, and I think you'll continue down that road, of course. I want to thank everybody on the call. As far as those are primarily the questions that we had, and I would like to thank Randy and his team for sharing some of their experience. Is there anything you would like to add before we hand it over to some questions and answers? Okay.
I think I'm all set.
Are there any questions? I think that I see 3.
Yes. So let me kind of go over these questions real quick, and I'll just open them up to anybody really to answer from the panel, and we'll just kind of go one by one. So the first question coming in from Steve says, I see that you're capturing the ASCE quality and accuracy levels. How do you manage the data, and how do you record the engineering sign-off of this information in PointMan? Do you use a form to document this sign-off?
That would be to KCI.
Valerie, do you want to touch base on what Jeff does to sign off on our deliverables?
So we do not solely use PointMan. We also do, I'd say 95% of the time still get a survey done. So we are capturing the quality and quality levels on our field sketches through PointMan. If there's a quality level that, you know, is not a QLB, then we do note it in the system and it gets carried on through onto our surveys. The engineer's sign off has not changed in how we have done that in the past. We have, you know, a set of drawings and they still QC the whole thing based off of our field sketches and the survey.
Question for you. Does the PointMan staking help out with the extent, I guess, the additional survey?
Yeah, we actually utilize the stakeout if the stakeout option if we, because in between when we do our initial field markouts to when survey comes is sometimes, you know, could be upwards of 3 to 4 weeks. So the stakeout option is very beneficial for when we return to a site that maybe the paint is faded or our flags are missing, and we can use it to find those original points that we had captured.
Fantastic. Exactly. That's kind of the screenshot. I just want to explain the screenshot here is that we show the data, although we capture data in 3D, X, Y, Z. The data on the phone or tablet would be viewed in 2D, but 3D is coming. That's obviously I think a big push for a lot of different organizations, especially in the BIM modeling methodology. And so again, underground utilities, there's a lot of technology out there that can do this today. The primary concern is cost, right? Can we do it effectively and cost effectively versus, you know, again, be able to have the newest and best and neatest tools. But I just want to clarify that PointMan does not have 3D in the tablet, but that picture shows a 3D kind of outlay of the utilities. Sorry, Marvin, are there other questions?
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for getting into that. So here's another from an anonymous attendee. How quick is the data capture portion of this software? Most data collection tools I've used are slow and cumbersome.
Is that a question for our experiences?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
So obviously all GPS devices that run on Bluetooth and Wi-Fi signal have some areas where you're going to have slow signal strength. But when we do run into those areas, we go into the offline mode, which is a benefit of using the PointMan program, because we can go into offline mode and work for 3 to 4 hours and then go back online once we have good internet connection. So we don't really deal with, you know, it doesn't really affect us too much because there is that offline mode portion of PointMan.
Thank you, Jared.
Awesome. Yeah,
Or feature, I should say, sorry.
Exactly. We had another question here. It says, if you find discrepancies in the field relating to the as found location of utilities, how do you inform the utility owners?
So we typically like to, if we find something that's drastically off of where the utility records are showing, we would like to get an in-field meeting with the utility company to kind of go over what we found versus what the records show. And then from there, we would do quality level A test tools to verify our marks.
That doesn't happen very often though, correct?
It happens all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome. One of these questions is this a CDOT developed product? I think they're referring to Colorado Department of Transportation here.
So the answer to that is no. PointMan, basically, we had patents that were pending almost 9 years ago when we were believing how to use Bluetooth and connect a simple phone or a tablet through Bluetooth to these different devices. So the patents have been out there for now 11 years. And again, we've been selling PointMan now for almost 9 of those years. CDOT came about mainly because of 2 things. One, they had one of the largest utility corridor projects that was basically managed by Kiewit Construction ever to be deployed. It was the downtown, basically 15 miles of I-70, or they call it C-70, that initiated this. They were struggling because, again, bad records, and we're having tremendous number of strikes through that process, and we're desperately looking for something to help. The year prior, the CDOT as well as Kiewit using the PointMan application, they had close to about 300 plus hits. And then the year after, they had close to about 10. And then the year after that, they had 3. So it was a significant reduction. And there's 2 things here. It's not just, again, the infrastructure. Obviously, there's safety that's involved, again, with large projects like that. But that's where CDOT became involved with this. And from a Sioux standpoint, they were one of the first. They weren't not the first. I actually learned this the other day that Pennsylvania passed a mandate for Sioux standards to be deployed and implemented through all their pre-con projects. CDOT did the same. They mandated it. And again, PointMan is a tool that allowed CDOT to manage multiple projects as well as multiple vendors all with one system, and to also then direct or manage standards of data collection based on the ASCE 3802 or 22, as well as now the 75. So it was a solution that was brought forth through a collaboration between Kiewit and CDOT.
Awesome. Thank you, Bill. I know you were there kind of during all that process, so I appreciate you jumping in and answering that question. So I think we have one last question here, and it has to do with security. So it's probably a question for the PointMan team. Where does this cloud data live? It says we work with highly secure facilities. Our clients would be hesitant to use a platform that is sharing data across multiple users. Jared, Mallory, do you guys ever have any problems with that for your own specific clients?
Not in particular, no.
No.
Okay.
Well, there's 2 components to this. Is
Yep.
One, it lives in AWS, one of the most secure cloud environments that 90% of all the banking institutions use today. In addition to, we do our own penetration testing, as well as we're SOC 2 Type 2 certified. So we meet the pretty much highest standards in security, as well as, again, would leverage the backup and security focus that AWS provides.
Awesome. It looks like another question came in. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mallory.
I was going to say, I also, so the multiple users that it is shared across is actually just whoever is in your organization. It's not like our data is open to everybody.
Good point. Yeah. So every
So-
environment is basically a client environment. It is a server that is shard off and specifically created for that client, their data, and then they set up their roles and privileges of who they send the logins to. But no one shares data through the system. It is not one giant cloud that everybody shares their individual, as we call them, environments.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. Looks like another question came in real quick. When offline is, I think it says when your device is offline, is it still depending on Bluetooth to be connected to the PointMan software? And I can answer that question. It is. So when you're doing an offline mode, what you're actually doing is, prior to being in the offline area, in the rural part, wherever there's a bad cell or a connection, first you would download that information, all the project information, like the features, the forms, the map itself, back into the device. Then when you go offline mode, the device is still connected to Bluetooth using the external hardware, whether that's the GPS, the line locator, or both. You're collecting all that information. The geospatial information is coming from, satellites orbiting the Earth. Once you get back into the into the connected area with cell signal, that data is then uploaded into the cloud. So all that information, you are still using the Bluetooth on offline mode, but all that information, the rest of the information from PointMan for that specific project, can be stored in the device. I don't know if you guys want to add anything to that, but
No, it's a good question.
most certainly. Well, everyone, I think that's it for the questions that we had on here. once again, we'd like to thank everyone for participating in the conversation today. If you have any questions or follow-up, feel free to send us an email to either ourselves or the KCI team. You can reach out via this link email. But on behalf of PointMan and all of KCI as well, we appreciate those who attended today, and we thank everyone. Hopefully, we'll see you at the next webinar. Everyone, we hope you have a good week. Thank you so much.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us.